Hey everyone, it's Jack, and today I'm going to show you how to install Arch Linux and put on the Unity desktop. Yeah, that's right, Unity. Unity is now available for Arch Linux. And so for those of you that enjoy the Unity desktop and want to give it a spin on Arch, I thought I would just kind of share my experience with installing Arch Linux. I'm going to go out to the Arch Linux website and then download the ISO and do an install using the Arch installer, and then we'll add the Unity desktop afterward and see what it's like. We can explore it and see how usable it is. I'm not sure if the Unity desktop environment is 100% ready for prime time yet. One way to find out, and that's to stick it on and give it a go. So I'll just get it, the Arch ISO here at the Arch Linux website. And of course, the links are in the description below as well for the Arch Linux and the Ubuntu Unity and the Unity 7.6 instructions for installing on Arch. So cool. Let's get the ISO, and then I'll be back here on the Unity website, and here it'll have the instructions on how to add the Unity desktop environment after we do the install of Arch Linux. Starting with adding the repository and the repo key, and then editing the pacman comp. And after that, running a script that'll run the pacman update and download the Unity meta package, which will install everything we need for the Unity. Then we'll activate the LightDM desktop manager and we'll be in business. So with that, enough of my babbling. Let's get to it. All right, looks like we're just about in the console, and there we are. So I'm just going to run archinstall, all one word. This should start the installer, and it didn't. So looks like it's got some kind of keyring issue there. All right, maybe I don't have the newest ISO, I don't know. But let's do pacman-sy, that's uppercase S, and then we'll run arch linux and keyring, I think it is. If I remember right. Been a while. Okay, and we'll say yes to that. All right, so hopefully that'll refresh the key ring. Now next I'm going to do pacman key and then refresh keys. So this should refresh our keys. And then when it gets through this, assuming it does, we'll be almost home free. Okay, and then I accidentally hit pause there by mistake, and so I didn't record it. Whoops. But I typed in pacman key _populate space Arch Linux, and then that should populate our keys with luck. And then this will hopefully work. And then I'll run archinstall and we'll see what happens. And so far it's just kind of sitting there. Okay, so archinstall, and let's see if it works now. The big test. And there it is. Yay. So now that we're in our installer, and hopefully you won't encounter the same thing, but if you do, at least you got a kind of an idea of how to get out of that if you're not experienced in installing Arch. But anyways, back to our installer. Here we're sitting at our mirror region, and that's blank. So I'm going to get this. So I got it highlighted using my arrow key, and I'm just going to press enter to get in there. And now I'm just going to hit my up arrow key. That'll get me to the US selection even quicker, and then press spacebar to select, and then enter to go back to the menu. And now it put me at the locale language, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit more with my and select drive with my arrow key, and then arrow down here, select spacebar, and that will select my 65 gig drive. So that's good. Now I'm at disk layout, so I'm going to hit enter again, and then arrow down and select wipe all selected drives. And so that'll just kind of erase everything, and then press enter. And now for a partition type, I'm going to go and select ext4. And then would you like to create a separate partition? Yes, I like that idea. So I'm going to go with that, hit enter. And encryption password, I'm going to leave that at none. So now I'm going to arrow down to, I think maybe root password. And let's set a root password. So I'm just going to type in a password here, and it's pretty weak, but that's okay. I'm just playing anyway. And then user account. So same thing, going to press enter, and then enter again to add a user. Then I'm going to use my usual there, Toadwick, for a username. And then let's type in a password for it. I'm just going to keep it the same as the root. And then I want to select yes here to be a sudo super user. And so we got that created. So that's good. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to arrow down and then select confirm and exit. That'll take care of our users. Nice. Now we got our profile. So we need to set this now. And for our install, I'm not going to go with a desktop environment. So I'm scrolling down to pick up the Xorg. And that'll do a minimal system install with our graphics drivers. And then for our graphics card, normally I would select Intel on my computer, but I'm going with VMware. And so now audio, gonna hit that and then probably go with Pipewire. Well, maybe I'll do Pulse Audio just to be, I'm not really sure there. I really should go with Pipewire, I think, but we'll do Pulse Audio for the heck of it. I don't think that's an issue anyway for this tutorial. Now I'm going to scroll down and select our network driver, and I'm going to go with, I think, copy ISO network configuration to installation. So we'll just use the network config that's in this ISO right now because it seems to be working just fine. So I'll go with that and I'll hit enter. And that takes us back to our time zone. So I don't want to go with UTC, so I'm going to up arrow here and then select US Eastern. That'll work. And you can add in optional repos here if you like. And I'm going to select that and then select multi-lib with my space bar. And then that brings me back to save config, but I'm going to scroll down and just go right to install. And now it's kind of showing us a layout of a whole bunch of stuff. And when I hit enter, it should just kind of start installing. And so now it's doing its thing, looking good. And there we go. So it looks like we're off, and hopefully this install will go without a hitch, and we can get to phase 2. And if you remember correctly, we got our curl here, band that we're going to run. So we're going to do this curl command to add in the repo key, and we're going to just do that top line, the curl command, and then separated by pipe, and then sudo pacman key add hyphen. So I'll just type that in right now. So we'll do curl https : // and then unity.ruds.io/repo.key. And I'll hit enter. A pipes command. And then sudo pacman -key at _add and then hyphen. And that should download our key and then add it in to our pacman key. And let me hit enter here. Maybe it needs authentication. So I'm just going to press enter. So type that in. And there we go. I think it took it. So I'm going to do sudo pacman -key and then $L sign and hyphen key and then space. And then we're going to type in the key 3FB6. And then after that, just hit enter. And then it took the key. Yay. So we got that out of the way. Now what we're going to do is we're going to edit our pacman key or our pacman comp. So first of all, I'm going to download nano. I'm going to do sudo pacman -S nano, and that's will allow us to edit from the console. And so you can use nano or whatever your favorite console editor is, like Vim, if you're a Vim fan. And so this should just take a second. Now that we got nano downloaded, I'm going to edit our pacman comp. So I'm going to type in nano /etc/pacman.comp. Press enter. And now I hit my page down key here. That gets us to the bottom quicker. And what we got to do is scroll just above where the community section is. That's important that you put it in there because the order matters. And I'm going to type in brackets arch equals unity and then close the bracket, go to the next line. And now I'm going to type in sig level equals required database optional. And then we'll go to the next line. And then server equals https://unity.ruds.io/archinunity. All right. And then all I got to do is press Control O. So yeah, I didn't like that. Permission denied. I bet I didn't go into sudo. I forgot I'm a regular user now. Crap. Okay. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this to my home folder and then just copy it back to the etc folder instead of having to go in there and do this all over again. So I'm going to press Control O, and then instead of etc pacman comp, I'm just going to kind of back up and save it to home/toadwick/pacman-comp, and then that should kind of work. So we'll do home/toadwick and save it under a different name. No, that's good. Okay, I'm not sure if that saved it. I think it did. I'll just say no again. Okay, well, I'm thinking that saved it. So I just did an ls, and I see pacman-comp there at the bottom. Oh, yes, it looks like it did save it. Cool. So now I'm just going to copy it over to the etc folder and just overwrite the pacman-comp, and then we should be good. So that way I can cover up the error of my ways. So I'll just type in sudo copy cp, which is cp pacman.comp /etc, and just press enter. And then I typed cat /etc/pacman.comp. So it'll just kind of type it out here on the display. And when I look down here, I can see that our entry is in there, Arch Ubuntu. So cool. With that, I'm just going to do sudo pacman syy and resync this. And as you can see the Arch Unity here showing up. So it resynced good and synchronized with the Arch Unity repo. So I'm glad to see that. And now that that's synced or synced, we're going to go to the next page where I typed in sudo sh-c, which means command, and then we're going to type the command, two commands in double quotes. So the first one is going to be pacman uppercase SYYU, so we can synchronize and do any updates that are needed, and then that's separated by a semicolon, and then the next command will be pacman uppercase S space unity-meta. So that means we'll be downloading the Unity Meta package as well. And then I closed the double quote there. So you got to be sure to close that quote. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And after that, when you hit enter, it'll continue onward and upward. And then it should just download our package here with some luck. I always need luck with this stuff. So now it's showing the stuff that is going to kind of do the upgrade. And then it's asking for everything. And that looks good to me, so I'm just going to go with the default and press enter for yes. So I'm going to let it do its thing, and when it's done with all of this, then we should be ready to launch Unity. Okay, I'm back in the pacman-comp here because the download and everything was going super slow. Ooh, it was painful. I don't know if it's my internet connection or what, but it got me thinking. Before, when I was in the pacman-comp, I should have gone and enabled the parallel downloads. And about halfway down your screen here, we got parallel downloads equals 5. And I just uncommented that. I removed the hashtag that was in front of it. So with that out of there, now we got parallel downloads equals 5. And so that'll greatly speed up our whole process here. So I'm just going to hit Control O again, save that, and then Control X to get out. And then I'm going to rerun this script that I ran just a second ago, a few minutes ago. But first I'm sudo pacman -syy, and so that'll resync the repos because we got to get it to reload the comp file and then run the sudo pacman blah blah blah. And now it's saying failed retrieving the archunity.db file. Okay, so I'll refresh the keys again, and I was paused by mistake, sorry, but I typed in sudo pacman key space --refresh keys. So I'm refreshing my keys. And after it refreshes the keys, then everything should be fine again. And now I'm rerunning the install. So I just hit my up arrow key and reran that script there, the sh-c, and then the two commands there, pacman syyu and the pacman s unity meta. So now it's going to rerun, and this time, it should be going a lot faster now that we got our parallel downloads. And I'm just going to pause the video. I'll be right back. And if it fails, well, I'll be back anyway to fix it. But I'm just hitting yes here, just all the defaults. So it's asking, which repos you want to select. So that's all good. But yes, it does look like it's running good here. So just hit enter again, let it do its thing. And that's much better. Now we got our downloads just flying. So that's kind of what I like to see there. So I guess if I had to go back in the original edit of the pacman-comp, I would have just uncommented that parallel downloads the first time. But anyways, it's on, so I'll be back after it's complete. Okay, and now for the final steps in the Unity instructions from here is to enable light DM. So let's do it. Here I got it in the command prompt. It's all typed out. So I'm just going to press enter, and then hopefully it's going to activate light DM and we'll kind of be in Unity. And there it is. Yay. All right. Awesome. So there's our Unity login screen, and I guess I'll just go ahead and log in and see what happens. Nice. So it looks like our desktop environment is loading in. Cool. Oh, something ought to be appearing any second now. And there we go. We have our background coming up here, and well, there we go. Keyboard shortcuts. Nice. So right off the bat, we get a keyboard shortcut screen, and I like the blur transparency behind it too. That looks kind of nice. Very nice, actually. So we got our switching, our HUD menu bar, launcher, dash, and Windows shortcuts. And we can bring this up also by pressing the super key and just holding it. And then that will make it appear for as long as you're holding it. Let's open up our file manager here. And I think that might be Nemo. Oh, and I noticed that we don't have our home folders in here. It's not showing our documents and all that other stuff. I just deleted the Pacman comp file too that I saved earlier in the console. But to get our home folders showing up, I'm going to go in here in the terminal here, and I'm just going to type in this command because I think we have XDG installed, I believe. So I'm going to type in XDG user dirs update. And there we go. So now we got them. Yes, that's what I like to see. Our documents, downloads, music, pictures, all that. So that's how you get those in there in case you didn't know that. So I'm going to minimize that and then just slide my file manager back over here. And so, yes, that's Nemo. And then here is our menu and our search. So if I click here, we get our application showing up. Nice. And I can select this to show all the results under installed. So these are our installed apps. Looking beautiful. Wow. Nice first impression. And then, of course, you can just directly search there, too. And I hit the super key just to bring that up. And now I just hit super A to bring me directly into the menu. So just like in GNOME, you can access the menu directly by pressing super A. And so here we can see all our installed apps that we got in here. And so it looks like we got all the essentials, including Firefox. I'm glad to see that. Cool. And then up here on our panel, we got a switch theme item, and that's cool. That'll switch us right over to a light theme. So by default, we're in the dark theme. And then underneath that, we got switch accent colors. Nice. So if I hit bark, then it changes the accent there on the folders and the selected item in the Unity bar over here. Nice. I like that blue. I might go with that. And so then we got magenta. Nice. Slide down. There's olive. Oh, that's kind of cool. We can just at a glance see what we got here. So that was the Prussian green, and now we got purple. Cool. Then red. Nice. And then down here we got sage. And then finally we got Viridian. Very nice. I like that. I think I'll go with blue. That one kind of works for me today. I like that. So beautiful. We'll go with blue. So that's where you can kind of do your appearance stuff. And here's more appearance settings. And it looks like that kind of took us into our settings panel, our control panel, Unity control panel, I think it's called, or control center. And so here we can see our different wallpapers. So if I click on that, it looks like it changes your wallpapers right on the fly when you click. That's another thing I like. And beautiful Unity wallpapers there. They look like they're right out of the Kudu, the latest repo there from Ubuntu. I forgot what it's called. Something Kudu. So, wow, very cool. Nice backgrounds. And so all those beautiful Ubuntu wallpapers. I like that one. That looks pretty nice. And then we got a different variation there and a blur background, which is good too. And some forest if you like a little bit of natural scenery, and another one there with a mountain. Cool. Very good. And this one could be a contender. I don't know. It might be a little too, maybe a little too bold for some people. I don't know. I think overall, though, I like the default one the best. I think they made a really good choice there, Mr. Ruds. Very good. And our default is the Yaru dark theme there. And then here we got our behavior. So if we go over here and we go, you can auto hide the launcher by toggling the switch over there on the right. And then here we got enable workspaces. So then it shows up over here in our Unity bar right there. Then if I go over here, add show desktop icon, then we got that in the Unity bar as well. And then we can turn off the workspaces and go over here. And then this is where we can show our menus for a window. And so if we have it always displayed, then it'll always display in the window or in the menu bar. I don't think Nemo is probably the best choice for the universal menu, though. I probably want to use something different. Probably like, I don't know, maybe Firefox, LibreOffice, but a different app should show up there in the bar up on top, and it's not yet. I think I might need a restart for that to just kind of activate. But since I'm in here, this should be the latest version of Firefox. So if I go to About, and it looked like 107 there. And then if we go to Appearance here, I'm going to select in the window title bar. And if you select that, then your menus will stay in the title bar. Of course, by default, Firefox doesn't have the menus in the title bar there. You got to kind of right click and add it manually. So probably Firefox wasn't the best example to use either, really. But I'm going to go back and default in the menu bar. And then our visual effects by default are on high, and it doesn't want me to go low. So that's probably the Compiz compositor, because if I remember right, and here's your restore behavior settings. So if anything goes flaky on you, you can just hit that. It'll just kind of restore everything back to normal again. And I like that they have the Nemo file manager on here too. That's one of my favorite file managers. Very cool. And then of course, all settings brings you back into all the settings. We have our display, keyboard, mouse, network, all the goodies that you would require. Then our keyboard settings and locale and so forth, our audio, and it's muted by default. And it looks like it's kind of staying muted there. And I have a feeling that's because I selected Pulse Audio during the install instead of just leaving it at Pipewire. So yeah, Pipewire was probably a better choice. Here's our time and date settings. So I guess if you wanted to unlock it, you could change the settings like for your region there. And it's not really unlocking. I'm not sure why that's not working. Let's come back to that. I'm going to go to clock. If you click on weekday, then you can see up in the panel up on top that these items appear as I toggle them in. And then you can do 24-hour time if you like that better, and even display seconds. Wow. So that's really easy to toggle those on and off. And then back here, though, don't really see why that unlock isn't working there. So let's go back to all settings and try something else that might require unlock, maybe like user accounts. If I go in here, first of all, let's give us a avatar. I like that sunflower. So unlock, nothing. So yeah, that's not working. I don't know if that's like maybe a policy kit thing going on there. Let me close that and open up the terminal. And then in here, I'm going to launch the control center from the terminal. I think it would be Unity or sudo, because I want to do sudo to see if we can get around that. Sudo unity-control-center to do it. Let's hit enter. Well, after I log in. Okay. So now I shouldn't have to unlock the screen. It should just like automatically go there. And we're getting some feedback in the console here, which is another benefit console. Let's hit automatic login, and yeah, it's saying failed to create file /c GDM custom conf. So it's kind of looking for the GDM, the display manager there, the GNOME. So maybe that's part of the issue there because we're using LightDM. But I really think overall, big scheme of things, is some kind of policy kit issue. So that's probably something that Mr. Unity will be working on. So that's something that I think will probably get fixed in development. I'm under file sharing now. I'm just going to see if I can do anything here. And it looks like, yeah, it's not really working anywhere where you need to authenticate or to unlock. I selected that, but now there's no button. So there's no way for me to just like say, make it so. So yes, that part it looks like is not complete yet. So it doesn't really look like it can unlock anything in the controls unless I'm really missing something obvious. And so if I am, feel free to chime in. But at least as of time of this video recording, that feature doesn't seem to be enabled yet. or worked out. So here's our dbus launch error. So yeah, really kind of makes me feel like it's policy kit needs some work there. So we'll just kind of move on from there. Back into our search menu here. Love the blur effect. That's gorgeous. So I'm just going to restart real quick just to kind of see if things smoothing out a bit here. So now we're in our boot menu and we'll just boot back in. Besides that, I haven't restarted anyway since I did all this. All right, so we'll just log back in and things start appearing just like that. All right, so I'm going to open Nemo back up just for aesthetics if nothing else. Then let's go into LibreOffice Calc and let's see if we get our global menu happening here with LibreOffice. If I remember right, the global menu likes certain apps more than others when it comes to showing a complete global menu. And so there we go. So when I hover over it, it shows up, and just the way it's set in the settings. I notice our icons though are, not the best for this theme. I'm just going to go into options and view, and then under our icon theme, I'm going to select something else other than the elementary. So maybe Calibre, I think. Libre Dark, because we're running a dark theme. Then I'll hit apply, and that looks way better. I like that. So now everything's lit up nicely. It's easy to see the icons up there on the toolbar, so that's good. And if we go into about, this should be the latest and greatest 7.4.3.2. Excellent. So I'll just exit out of there. So yes, that confirms that the global menu is working better. And for Nemo, it looks like it just stays in the window bar. So I'm good with that personally. I don't really care whether it's in the bar or not. So if I go back in here, and here we got our other items, which are items that are in your file manager. Of course, those directories are empty, so you're not really going to see anything. Then we got our dash plugins, but this is where I hang out the most, is right here in our applications. So if I scroll down here, let's see what else we got here that's cool. Unity tool. Cool. We got our sharing. Luma, that's our text editor. So if you like a GUI text editor better than something like Nano, here you go. And of course, most of the time, I just use a GUI text editor because it just makes more sense. It's a lot quicker, but to each his own. So now let's go back down. I saw that Unity tweak tool, but right here. So I'm going to open that up quick and check that out. So here's our Unity tweak tool. And it looks like we've got a lot of little things in here we can tweak. So this is kind of interesting. I like that. So if we hit our launcher, we got a bunch of tabs. It looks like they correspond to that row of icons that we were just looking at. Launcher, search panel, switcher, additional. Launcher, search panel, switcher, additional, and the tabs. So yes, they correspond to the icons. Nice. There's our auto hide. If I just kind of slide that over, I was thinking that would like make the launcher bounce back up, but I guess not. So we got our auto hide, transparency level. So if we just kind of tweak that, we can make it really transparent like that. Or we can back it off and just make it completely opaque, or just put it back where the notch is, and that'll kind of be the default setting there. And then the color is based on wallpaper. So that's our color accents, I think. And then position left bottom, you can have it on the bottom if you wish. And then our desktop icon, we can show desktop right there. We can toggle that on and off right from here as well. And then our background color, blur type, black background blur. So if I hit this, we turn off the background blur. If we go in here, now you can see that what's displaying behind this window is no longer blurred. When I toggle that, then it's blurred again. Nice. And then you even have a choice of different types of blur, like static. And so, yeah, that's like blurry. And then if you hit active, it's more like a motion blur, kind of like when you move a camera slightly. So that's nice. You get shoots of blur there. Then your transparency level for our panel up here. So we can slide that and make it like really transparent or just a little bit transparent. And I like that. Nice feature. And then you can have an opaque panel for minimized windows. So, or maximized, I mean. So yeah, it goes opaque when it's maximized. So that's another option you got there. Cool. And now I just held down my Windows or super key. And as long as I hold it down, then I can look at my shortcuts here and see kind of what these different shortcuts are. I want to find the restore window because there's no button. Okay, so to unmaximize it, all I guess I got to do is press Control Super Key down. Cool. And then under switcher, we got all these different switching options here, and then additional, and those are probably things I would never want to feel the need to tweak. Then under our window manager, same deal. You can see that all these icons correspond to the tabs inside the window here. So nice. Desktop magnification. Then under workspace settings, we got workspace switcher. So if you want to adjust that, you can go in there and mess with it if you want. And then our window spread to set your spacing, window snapping, hot corners, and additional stuff. And then back in the tweak tool under appearance, we hit this, we got theme. So no themes in there, but we got a lot of icon themes. If I go ahead and select some of these are equivalent to what we were selecting up here in the top panel. If I click these, it'll switch our different icons. So this is kind of a quicker way to do it if you just jump in the tweak tool, and we can just kind of visually see our icon themes and change other themes like our Unity icon. There's Ubuntu Mono Dark. So that's kind of like the newer GNOME type icons. Then we got our Humanity, which is the same as Unity, it looks to me. And then like high contrast, that's nice. And GNOME, that's like old GNOME. And then default, which apparently is Adwaita. Cool. I'm going to go back down here and just select one of the arrow ones again. Maybe the arrow olive. That might work too. And then over here we got our cursor theme. So Yaru was selected by default, and the Adwaita looks the same to me. Then we have our font settings. So here you can change your font style and sizes and all that. And then under system, here we can add our home folder and fresh bin and so forth to the desktop. So they're just by clicking on it, they appear up here in our desktop. And then maybe network. So now we got all three of them there. Devices, I don't think is going to display anything because there's nothing plugged in. And then you got security settings. So if you want to disable some things like your desktop lock or locking out printers and user logout and so forth, you can disable all that right here. And so that's kind of handy if you might need it. And then here's our scroller setting, which again, I probably wouldn't mess with any of these. It even has touch scrolling here for edge, two finger, and so forth, horizontal scrolling. So a little bit of extra stuff there. Nice. So that's our Unity tweak. Now my curiosity's peaked on that one, or satisfied, I mean. And here we can see our recent items that we were in show up here by default when we hit our window super key. And so I'm back in our application menu here, and I'm noticing I don't see a software center. So I'm just going to go in here and maybe install Gnome-Software, but I think I'll install like the plugin too, or Flatpak, just for the heck of it. I'm going to do sudo pacman hyphen uppercase S, lowercase s, because we want to do a search for Gnome-Software, and then I'll just authenticate, and then it should kind of show us the other stuff that go with it. And that's what I'm looking for, Gnome-Software Package Kit plugin. I'm going to add that to the Gnome-Software install. I'm just going to highlight that so I don't have to do all the typing, and then right click, and then I'm going to copy that. And so now I'm going to type in sudo pacman hyphen uppercase s, and then Gnome hyphen software, and then space, and now I'm going to right click and just paste in that whole package kit plugin thing. And then I'm going to add Flatpak because that's related to the plugin. So Flatpak, that way we can have access to FlatHub too as well. And now I'm restarting after I installed all that. And so logging back in, and the reason I restarted is because when you install Flatpak and you're using the FlatHub plugin there in Gnome-Software, it's a good idea to restart your computer so that all integrates properly. So now, if I go in here into my apps, I could actually just type in software, and there it is, the Gnome Software Center. So I just pressed enter to launch it, and it is populating. Cool. It's loading in the metadata there, the first time load for all the graphics. And here you can see our different categories, and then all the editor's choices, new and updated, I mean. So really cool. And if we go into one of these categories like create, it's going to repopulate again the metadata, and then you can see a bunch of recommended things. However, I like to just go back and go into the search here. So if I was going to look for something like Inkscape, then we got Inkscape here, and I can select that. And you can see the FlatHub is selected by default, which is cool. And so now it's going to load in the details here for that. And I can see that it's version 1.2.1. Nice. Of course, in Arch, I rarely use FlatHub. I'm just going to go back to the repositories. But I just kind of wanted to show you an easy way to integrate the FlatHub anyway, just in case you didn't know already, for those who didn't. So I'm going to let Inkscape install here, and it looks like it's pretty much 100%. There we are. Nice. So now I want to see if it showed up in our menu. So I'm going to just delete that software entry there, and then kind of take a look to see all results here. Scroll down, and I'm not seeing it. Okay, so I guess I got to log out and back in to actually see that. Yeah, you know, on some distros and desktop, sometimes the Flatpak doesn't always populate. So that's another thing that probably should be resolved in the future. But of course, we could open it here, but I guess I'm going to have to log out and back in to actually see it. So yeah, but anyways, let's just take a look at the theming and just see how it all looks there. The toolbar and everything looks great. So theming matches nice with this. No complaints there. Glad to see that. Okay, and then you can see the global menu up there worked fine as well with the Inkscape. So that is cool. Nice. And then if we go over here, actually I'm going to clear out that. Then if we go up here in our burger menu, we can see our software repositories, and then there's FlatHub and Arch Unity. That's what we entered in our Pacman conf, and then our core and essential repos. So very good. Nice. And then if we go back to explore, that's kind of where we started. Oh, there we are. Gnome-Software. Nice. So we got that all taken care of. Now it feels more like a complete desktop environment. So even though we're still kind of in the development stage, it seems to be under construction. I'm going to restart this real quick. Okay, I restarted, and now I'm back. And so now we should have Inkscape, and there it is. All I really had to do was just log out and log back in, but for some dumb reason, I restarted. But anyway, if I go back in here, let's open up our Compiz config manager. Overall, I probably would not recommend messing with this because this is the main compositor for Unity, and you can see it had the Unity plugin there, but you could probably break the configuration if you like add the wrong thing in here. So I probably wouldn't play in here, but maybe something like wobbly windows might be safe, and even that kind of makes me a little nervous, but I'll just click that anyway. And it wants me to disable the snapping window, so I'll just go ahead and do that. And I don't think the wobbly windows is probably enabled yet because it probably disabled that one at a time. But let's just go back in, hit OK. I shake that, no wobble. So I had to disable the snapping window first, with probably under window management. There it is, snapping windows. So that's disabled. So now if I enable that, it should work. So now it's going to refresh again. And when it refreshes, it closes the Compiz Center. So that's kind of slightly inconvenient, but I don't know if that's really Unity's fault. So I'm going to open up my file manager here and just see if it wobbles. And there we go, wobbly windows. Nice. So yeah, that's one of my favorite effects. I'm easily entertained, and it wobbles very nice. One thing I really like about Compiz is it has really great effects, and if you use XFCE, Compiz can really spice it up a lot. So, something I've always liked. Got a little soft spot for Compiz. So I guess I'm good with that, and I think I kind of covered everything. And I want to say that this Unity is really fun to play with. I really enjoyed doing the install on this, setting up Arch, and then putting in the Unity desktop. And this desktop, I think, is really exciting. I like where it's going. And like I said, it's got some issues still, like with the policy kit and so forth. But really, those kind of things are to be expected because this is a brand new project. And I didn't mention this before, but the person that's working on this, Rudra Saraswat, and I'm really sorry if I mispronounce your name, he's an 8th grader. At least the last I knew. He's like, I think, 13 or 14 years old, very young, and he took this on himself. This has got to be one brilliant kid because I tell you, to do something like this, you got to have some brains up here. You got to really know what you're doing. And so, wow, my hat's off to you. You are really amazing, in my opinion. Wow. And so, yes, this is a work in progress, and it is really close to being there, I think. It's like probably just a policy kit tweak away, and, probably some other things that I don't even know of that probably have to be addressed because, well, you can't know everything in the span of a half an hour when you're just playing with something. However, from what I'm seeing so far, this is really incredible. I couldn't be more impressed with this Unity environment and how he adapted this to Arch Linux. I think that's so cool that he got this ported over. A double thumbs up for this. This is really great. So again, you are the man. All right. So if you want to play with the Unity desktop, now you can do it. So if you want to play with the Unity desktop and you didn't know how to integrate it into Arch Linux, now you got the power to do it. And like I said earlier, at the time of this video, some of these issues still exist, but by the time you see this video, it could be a year from now, and it could be even more mature. I'm kind of betting it will be, because I think Rudra will just kind of keep this project going and just send it through the roof. So with that double thumbs up, I hope this walkthrough and tutorial was helpful. And if it was, don't forget to leave that thumbs up and hit subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.